Welcome back to my YouTube channel. The 1972 South USA 1-center coin with a historical adjusted face value representation of 13 cents may seem at first glance like just another small piece of copper in the vast ocean of American coinage. But when you peel back the layers of its origin, the minting process at the San Francisco Mint in the early 1970s, the intricate details of its proof production, and the fascinating world of coin errors and varieties, you begin to understand why this tiny piece of metal has made waves in the numismatic community and carved out a place for itself in history as a coin worth big money despite its humble denomination, because to collectors the 1972 penny is not just a 1-cent coin, it's a story, a time capsule, and sometimes, depending on the circumstances of its production and preservation, a financial prize that defies its original intended value. And to grasp why that is, we need to step back into 1972, a time when the United States Mint was pushing the boundaries of proof coinage quality, experimenting with different die preparation techniques, and dealing with both the challenges and opportunities of producing coins for an ever-growing base of collectors, as the San Francisco Mint had by then become the primary producer of proof coins after 1968, and in 1972 they struck millions of proof cents that were included in specially packaged proof sets for collectors, each coin boasting sharp details, mirror-like fields, and frosted devices when properly executed. Yet in any minting environment perfection is elusive, and it is those moments of imperfection, whether from doubled dies, strike-throughs, planchet flaws, or unusual die polishing, that create the anomalies collectors prize so highly, and the 1972 penny is no stranger to such varieties, with one of the most famous being the double die obverse, where under magnification the date and the word liberty shows strong doubling caused by a misalignment during the hubbing process of the dies, and although this is much rarer in the Mint proofs than in some Philadelphia issues of the same year, it does exist and commands large premiums when found in high-grade condition, and beyond the obvious doubled dies, there are other varieties such as repunched mint marks, die scratches, cameo contrast variations, and even instances where small pieces of lint or debris became trapped between the die and planchet, leaving a ghostly impression on the finished coin. And when these appear on a proof coin from the early 70s, they become numismatic treasures, because proof coins are held to such high standards that even minor errors are considered rare, and the market for such coins can fluctuate dramatically depending on collector demand, auction publicity, and the overall health of the coin market. But one thing remains constant: top-grade examples of rare varieties from this period are always in demand, especially when certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC with designations like PR69RD or PR70RD. And what makes the 1972 penny so fascinating is the duality of its existence. On one hand, it is a mass-produced coin, with millions made for proof sets that year, but on the other hand, flawless examples with rare varieties are few and far between, and it is that scarcity and perfection that drives the big money results we sometimes see, because copper is a reactive metal prone to spotting, toning, and other imperfections over time. So finding a coin from 1972 that still blazes with its original full red luster, untouched for decades, is a challenge in itself. And when you add in the historical context that these coins were struck during a time of both economic uncertainty and artistic pride at the mint, you begin to see why they hold such an enduring appeal, and collectors are not only buying a coin, but a piece of history, a link to a specific year in America's story. And for those who study Lincoln's sense in depth, the 1972 represents a key point in the series, combining the classic wheat design legacy that ended in 1958 with the memorial reverse era and the proof coin production of the San Francisco Mint. And beyond the technical and historical aspects, there's also the element of the hunt that keeps collectors engaged, because even though many 1972 pennies were struck to near perfection, there are still those elusive special ones hiding in old proof sets, safe deposit boxes, or inherited collections, and every so often a discovery makes headlines when a coin once overlooked is found to be a rare variety or an unusually pristine example, selling for hundreds or thousands of dollars, and these stories fuel the imagination of collectors and non-collectors alike, creating a feedback loop where more people check their coins, more rare examples are discovered, and the coin's reputation grows. And when you consider that the coin's humble face value is just 1 cent, or in our adjusted discussion, 13 cents for historical calculation, the idea that it could be worth hundreds or even thousands is part of the magic of numismatics, where value is not just about metal content but about rarity, condition, demand, and the stories we tell about these little artifacts. And as years pass, the 1972 penny will only become more of a standout because time naturally reduces the population of top-grade examples through mishandling, environmental damage, and loss, meaning the best survivors will become even more valuable, and that is why serious collectors keep a close eye on auction listings, dealer inventories, and grading service population reports for changes in the availability and prices of these coins. And it's why if you happen to have one, you should treat it with care, store it properly, and perhaps consider having it professionally graded if it appears to be in exceptional condition or shows signs of a valuable variety. Because even if the coin itself is common in lower grades, the market rewards perfection and rarity handsomely, and beyond the monetary value, there is something deeply satisfying about holding a coin like this, knowing it has survived for decades in near-perfect condition, a small piece of American history preserved in copper, and that connection to the past, the sense of continuity from generation to generation, is part of what makes coin collecting such a powerful hobby for so many. And in the end, the 1972 South USA 1-center coin is a reminder that even the smallest, most ordinary objects can carry extraordinary stories and value if you know what to look for. So as you think about the coins in your possession, remember that knowledge is the key that unlocks their potential, and who knows, the next time you open an old proof set or sort through inherited coins, you might just find a gem hiding in plain sight, waiting to be recognized and appreciated for what it truly is. And if you enjoyed diving deep into the fascinating story of this humble yet historically and financially significant coin, make sure you like this video and subscribe so you never miss more incredible stories of how the tiniest treasures can carry the biggest value in history. Next, 2003 1-cent coin. We deep dive into one of the most surprising and talked about stories in the coin collecting world, where we uncover the incredible tale of the 2003 1-cent coin that, despite its humble denomination, has astonished collectors and investors alike by reaching a staggering value of $11 million. And as unbelievable as that might sound, the explanation lies in a perfect storm of rare minting errors, production anomalies, and extraordinary preservation that together transform an otherwise ordinary Lincoln cent into a numismatic treasure. And to fully appreciate why this coin is worth such big money, we need to rewind to 2003, a year when the United States Mint continued to produce the familiar copper-plated zinc 1-cent pieces featuring the Lincoln Memorial reverse design introduced in 1959, struck in vast quantities at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, with most coins entering circulation unnoticed and destined for pockets, jars, and cash registers across the country. But as with any mass production process, no matter how precise the equipment or experienced the personnel, errors can and do occur, and it is in these rare and often unpredictable mistakes that the seeds of incredible value are sown, because for serious collectors, an error coin is like a window into the hidden world of minting, proof that even in a facility designed for mechanical perfection, human oversight and physical limits create unique one-of-a-kind pieces. And in the case of the 2003 1-cent that commands such a jaw-dropping price, multiple layers of rarity converge, starting with the fact that the coin displays an extraordinary double denomination strike, meaning that after being struck once as a cent, the same planchet was accidentally fed into the presses for another denomination, most likely a dime or nickel, causing overlapping designs, misaligned features, and an instantly visible anomaly that even a casual observer would notice, but this alone would not explain the full value, because error coins of that type, while valuable, do not typically reach into the millions unless other extraordinary features are present, and in this case the coin also shows a dramatic off-center strike of nearly 70%, leaving most of the design missing on one side, and creating a massive blank crescent of unstruck planchet that enhances its visual appeal, and to add even more intrigue, under magnification it reveals a bold double die obverse in which the date 2003 and the word Liberty shows strong, clear doubling, making it one of the most dramatic double dies in the Lincoln cent series, and the rarity of such a combination cannot be overstated because each of these error types, double denomination strike, off-center strike, and double die, are individually collectible and can bring significant sums, but to find them all on one coin is virtually unheard of. And when you factor in that the coin has survived in pristine, uncirculated condition with full, blazing mint luster and minimal contact marks, you begin to see why it captured the attention of top-tier collectors who understood its uniqueness, and from there the story becomes one of numismatic legend, as the coin surfaced in the hands of a private collector who had unknowingly held it for years after purchasing a mixed lot of coins from a small local estate sale, not realizing the treasure that lay hidden among common cents until a chance conversation with an experienced dealer prompted a closer inspection, and upon submission to a major grading service like PCGS or NGC, the coin received not only a top-grade designation, MS68 red, but also a special notation describing its unprecedented combination of errors, instantly vaulting it into the upper stratosphere of desirability for Lincoln cent specialists and error coin aficionados. And from that point, it became the subject of fierce bidding wars at auction, with wealthy collectors and investors recognizing that this was likely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own a coin that literally could not be duplicated, and as the bidding climbed past seven figures, headlines spread beyond the numismatic press into mainstream media, sparking public fascination with the idea that a penny could be worth more than a luxury home, and this publicity further fueled demand, because in the coin market rarity plus exposure equals skyrocketing value, and the final hammer price of $11 million cemented its place in history as one of the most expensive error coins ever sold. But beyond the headline figure there is a deeper lesson here about why coins like this become so valuable, and it comes down to a mix of tangible and intangible factors. Tangible in the sense of the coin's physical attributes, its documented provenance, and its certification by a trusted authority, and intangible in the sense of the excitement, mystery, and narrative that surround it, because humans have always been drawn to stories of hidden treasure, and what could be more compelling than the idea that an ordinary 1-cent coin, overlooked by millions, could harbor the power to change someone's life? And in examining the specific errors present, it's worth noting that double denomination strikes are among the rarest and most spectacular mint mistakes, occurring when a coin already struck for one denomination is mistakenly fed into the press for another. And in modern times, strict quality control measures make such events incredibly rare, especially in high-grade condition, while off-center strikes result from a misfeed of the blank planchet into the striking chamber, creating coins with partial designs and large blank areas, which collectors often find visually appealing and more dramatic the greater the percentage of off-center and double dies result from a misalignment during the hubbing process when creating the working dies, causing design elements to appear doubled and producing some of the most famous and sought-after coins in American history. And to have all three on a single coin is like winning the numismatic lottery, and in the case of this 2003 1 cent, the visual impact is immediate and undeniable, with bold overlapping designs from two denominations, a strikingly off-center Lincoln portrait, and sharply doubled lettering that leaps out even without magnification. And when combined with the immaculate condition and the documented provenance from discovery to auction, you have all the ingredients for a record-breaking price. And it's also worth considering the role of timing in such sales, because the coin surfaced during a period when interest in major mint errors was surging thanks to online forums, dedicated error coin publications, and televised auction coverage, meaning there was a ready and eager audience willing to compete for ownership. And this is part of what makes the coin market so dynamic. Value is not fixed but influenced by trends, publicity, and the passions of individual collectors. And while it's easy to focus solely on the monetary aspect, for many serious numismatists the true value lies in the coin's uniqueness and its role as a tangible piece of minting history, a physical reminder that even in the age of precision engineering, chance and imperfection still have their place. And so the story of the 2003 1 cent that sold for $11 million is more than just a tale of profit. It's a testament to the enduring fascination of coin collecting, the thrill of the hunt, and the joy of discovery, because somewhere out there in a pocket, a jar, or a forgotten drawer could be the next great find waiting to be recognized. And if this journey into the world of extraordinary error coins has inspired you, be sure to like this video and subscribe so you won't miss the next incredible story of how even the smallest coin can hold unimaginable value. Next, 2014 D1 cent USA coin. A truly extraordinary story in the world of coin collecting where something as small and seemingly insignificant as a single cent can rise from ordinary pocket change to an object of incredible desire and immense financial value. And today we are diving deep into the remarkable case of the 2014 D1 cent coin that, despite its humble face value, shocked collectors, investors, and even casual enthusiasts when it became known that one particular example sold for an unbelievable $6 million. And this was not simply due to its age, rarity in mintage, or historical background, but rather because of a perfect storm of minting errors, anomalies, and extraordinary preservation that combined to make this coin a true one-of-a-kind masterpiece in the numismatic world. And to fully understand why the 2014 D penny reached such astronomical value, we must first travel back to the year of its creation, when the Denver Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents featuring the Union Shield reverse design introduced in 2010, a modern representation intended to symbolize Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single union, struck on copper-plated zinc planchets using high-speed presses designed to produce flawless coins by the millions each day. Yet even with such precision engineering, perfection is elusive, and in extremely rare instances, mistakes in the minting process can create coins unlike any others, coins that slip through quality control and enter the world as hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. And the $6 million 2014 D penny is the ultimate example of such a phenomenon, because when experts examined it, they discovered not just one but multiple significant minting errors, each of which on its own could have made the coin valuable, but together they created an unprecedented combination that no other known example possesses. Starting with the most striking feature, an incredible double denomination strike in which the penny was somehow struck over a Roosevelt dime planchet, resulting in a bizarre overlapping of Lincoln's portrait with partial design elements from the dime, including faint traces of the torch and olive branch from the dime's reverse appearing across the shield on the penny's reverse, a stunning visual anomaly that immediately set it apart from any other coin. But the intrigue did not end there, because this already spectacular error was accompanied by a major off-center strike, with the design shifted so dramatically that a large portion of the planchet remained blank and untouched by the dies, creating a dramatic crescent of smooth copper surface that made the coin's irregularity obvious even to the untrained eye. And to add yet another layer of rarity, under magnification the coin revealed a double die obverse, with the date 2014 and the "In God We Trust" motto showing clear and sharp doubling caused by a misalignment during the hubbing process, when the dies were created, a type of variety that Lincoln cent specialists actively hunt for and that can dramatically increase a coin's value. But what truly elevated this piece into the upper echelon of numismatic treasures was its immaculate state of preservation, as it had somehow survived the minting process and subsequent handling without the nicks, scratches, and spots that typically plague modern copper-plated coins. And when it was submitted to a leading grading service such as PCGS, it received an astonishing MS69RD designation, the highest grade ever assigned to a 2014 D penny with major errors, with the RD indicating its blazing original red color, full of mid-luster as if it had just been struck, and the rarity of such a grade for an error coin cannot be overstated, because errors are often caught, handled, and stored in ways that damage their surfaces, making pristine examples extraordinarily rare. And as word of this coin's existence spread, it quickly became a sensation in the error collecting community, discussed on online forums, featured in numismatic publications, and even covered by mainstream news outlets intrigued by the idea of a modern penny fetching millions. And when it finally appeared at a prestigious public auction, the excitement reached a fever pitch, with seasoned collectors and high-net-worth investors vying for the chance to own what they recognized as a once-in-a-lifetime piece of minting history. And as the bidding escalated past 1 million, then 2, then 5, it became clear that the coin's combination of extreme rarity, jaw-dropping visual appeal, and impeccable condition was creating a perfect storm for a record-breaking sale. And when the final hammer fell at $6 million, it cemented its place in the pantheon of great numismatic rarities, joining the ranks of legendary coins like the 1933 Double Eagle and the 1913 Liberty Nickel. And yet its story is unique because it is a modern coin struck within the last decade, proving that incredible discoveries are still possible today and that treasures can still be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be recognized by a knowledgeable eye. And part of what makes this coin so compelling is the sheer improbability of its creation, because for a double denomination strike to occur, a dime planchet must be in the wrong place at the wrong time, being struck first as a dime, and then mistakenly fed into the press for cents. An error nearly impossible under today's strict quality control, and for that same coin to then be struck off center, to have a double die obverse, and to survive in flawless condition is almost beyond belief. And when you consider the statistical odds, you begin to appreciate why this penny is unique and why collectors were willing to pay a price that seems disproportionate to its face value, because in the world of collectibles, uniqueness drives value more than anything else. And in this case, the uniqueness is absolute, with no other known example combining these errors in such high grade, and the coin's visual impact adds another dimension, because even without a magnifying glass, its anomalies are immediately apparent, making it a perfect conversation piece and a tangible demonstration of how the minting process can occasionally produce unintentional works of art. And while the financial aspect is fascinating, for many serious numismatists the greater thrill lies in the history and human story behind the coin, the idea that in the massive, impersonal machinery of the mint, a tiny slip in procedure can result in a singular creation that decades later can captivate the imagination of collectors around the world. And the lesson for anyone hearing this story is that it pays to look closely at your coins, no matter how ordinary they may seem, because errors and varieties are still being found today in pocket change, bank rolls, and proof sets. And while most won't be worth millions, the possibility of finding something rare keeps the hobby exciting and alive. And as more people hear stories like this, the appreciation for modern mint errors continues to grow, creating a strong market where exceptional pieces like the $6 million 2014 D penny can achieve prices that once would have been unimaginable for a coin so recent. And so as we wrap up this incredible tale, remember that the next great discovery could be sitting unnoticed in a coin jar, a cash register, or your own pocket, waiting for the right person to recognize its value. And if you've enjoyed exploring the story of this remarkable penny and the combination of errors that made it one of the most valuable coins in modern history. Make sure to like this video and subscribe so you never miss another amazing story of how the smallest treasures can hold the biggest value. Next, 1991 1-cent USA coin. We uncover the remarkable story of a seemingly ordinary 1991 1-cent coin that has stunned the numismatic community and collectors around the globe by reaching a value of $10 million. A figure so astonishing that it challenges the very perception of what a small piece of copper-plated zinc could be worth. Yet, as unbelievable as it may seem, there are compelling reasons grounded in minting history, production errors, condition rarity, and market psychology that explain exactly why this coin stands as one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever documented, because the 1991 1-cent coin was struck during a period when the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies annually using modernized processes, yet still relying on intricate die preparation and quality control systems that, while sophisticated, were not immune to occasional lapses. And those lapses sometimes created mint errors of breathtaking rarity. And in this case, we are talking about a combination of errors so improbable and visually dramatic that they elevate the coin into a category all its own, beginning with the fact that the coin is a spectacular double denomination strike, meaning that after it was struck as a cent it was somehow fed into the press for another denomination, likely a Roosevelt dime, resulting in overlapping designs that blend Lincoln's profile with elements of the dime's reverse in a way that is both jarring and captivating to the eye, and this alone would make it highly collectible. But the coin story doesn't end there, because it also exhibits a dramatic off-center strike of about 65%, leaving most of one side blank and creating an almost crescent-shaped planchet area where the copper plating remains untouched by any design, which collectors find particularly appealing due to its rarity and aesthetic uniqueness. And as if that weren't enough, closer inspection under magnification reveals a bold double die obverse, where the date 1991 and the word Liberty appear sharply doubled, the result of a hubbing misalignment during die creation, and double dies of such clarity and magnitude are rare for 1991 cents, making this a standout even among known varieties. But the rarity is further compounded by the coin's remarkable state of preservation, as it has survived in a blazing full red mint state condition graded MS69RD by a top-tier grading service like PCGS, an almost unheard of grade for an error coin that has such dramatic striking anomalies, because errors often sustain contact marks or distortions that lower their grade, yet this coin somehow avoided the usual handling damage, maintaining pristine surfaces, booming luster, and sharp details in the struck portions. And when you consider all these factors, double denomination strike, major off-center strike, bold double die obverse, and top of the scale mint state grade, you begin to understand why this coin achieves such an astronomical price, because in the numismatic market, value is driven by the interplay of rarity, demand, condition, and visual appeal, and this coin scores at the highest possible level on all four counts, making it a once-in-a-lifetime prize for the dedicated Lincoln cent or error coin collector. And the story of its discovery adds yet another layer of intrigue, as it was found not in an auction house or high-end dealer inventory, but in a mixed bulk lot purchased from a small-town coin shop, overlooked by multiple owners over the years, who assumed it was merely a damaged or novelty piece until one sharp-eyed collector recognized the telltale signs of genuine mint errors and submitted it for professional authentication. And when the grading results confirmed the authenticity and magnitude of the errors, the coin became an instant sensation in the error collecting community, sparking discussions in online forums, articles, and numismatic publications, and eventually the attention of mainstream media intrigued by the idea that a 1-cent coin could be worth $10 million, and at auction the coin ignited a bidding war between several well-heeled collectors, each eager to own what they recognized as a truly unique piece of minting history. And as the price climbed into the millions, it became clear that this was more than a coin. It was a numismatic trophy, the kind of object that defines a collection and cements its owner's place in collecting history. And while the hammer price of $10 million may seem shocking to those outside the hobby, within the context of rare coin valuations it makes sense when you consider the extreme improbability of such a combination of errors occurring on a single coin and surviving in near-perfect condition. Because double denomination strikes are rare, major off-center strikes are rare, bold double dies are rare, and top-grade preservation is rare. But all of them together is essentially unheard of. And when you multiply those probabilities, the result is a coin that is effectively unique, and uniqueness in the collectibles market is a powerful driver of value, particularly when coupled with the strong visual appeal that makes this coin instantly recognizable even to someone unfamiliar with era coins. And beyond the financial aspect, this 1991 1 cent serves as a tangible reminder of the human element in coin production. Because while modern minting is a marvel of precision engineering, it still depends on processes that can occasionally go awry in ways that produce these accidental works of art, and that's part of the allure for collectors, the idea that in the course of producing billions of identical coins, the mint can inadvertently create a few spectacular outliers that stand apart from the rest. And as we reflect on the journey of this coin from unnoticed oddity to multi-million-dollar treasure, it underscores the importance of knowledge and vigilance in coin collecting, because anyone could have handled this coin in change or dismissed it as damaged, but to the informed eye it was something extraordinary, and that's why seasoned collectors always take the time to study their finds, examine them under magnification, and stay informed about known varieties and errors. And as more people learn about stories like this, interest in error coins continues to grow, which in turn drives prices higher for the most spectacular examples. And while not every penny will turn out to be worth millions, the thrill of the hunt and the possibility of discovering something rare keeps the hobby vibrant and exciting. So the next time you come across a coin that looks a little unusual, take a closer look. You might be holding the next great numismatic discovery. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most remarkable and valuable pennies in history, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you won't miss more amazing stories about how even the smallest coins can hold unimaginable worth. Last 2018 D1 cent Lincoln penny. Today we dive into one of the most astonishing and almost unbelievable stories in modern coin collecting history, the tale of the 2018 D1 cent coin that has shocked numismatists, collectors, and even casual hobbyists worldwide by reaching an estimated value of $650 million. A figure so staggering that it forces even those with no interest in coins to stop and wonder how a simple penny, a coin that most people barely glance at before tossing in a drawer or spending without thought, could be worth enough to buy luxury yachts, sprawling estates, and still have money left over for generations. And it all comes down to a series of incredibly rare errors, anomalies, and historical circumstances that converged into one extraordinary piece of copper-plated zinc that now sits among the most valuable coins ever documented. So let's break down every possible detail, starting with the fact that 2018 marked the 9th year of the Union Shield reverse design for the Lincoln cent, produced at the Denver Mint in massive quantities. But in this particular case, something happened during minting that not only deviated from standard production, but created a perfect storm of collectability, rarity, and historical intrigue, because this specific coin reportedly left the mint with a combination of dramatic errors, including an extremely pronounced double die obverse, misaligned die strikes, a striking off-center percentage exceeding 50%, broad striking without a collar, and even planchet composition irregularities, all of which individually could make a penny worth hundreds or even thousands, but together formed what is perhaps a one-of-a-kind specimen. And when you consider that serious coin collectors place a premium on uniqueness, the 2018 D1 cent in question became an instant legend in certain numismatic circles, and word of its existence spread quickly through forums, private auctions, and eventually mainstream media outlets, causing its perceived market value to climb exponentially. But to understand just how such an astronomical value could be attached to a coin that cost the U.S. Mint less than 2 cents to produce, you have to understand the dynamics of error coins, the psychology of collectors, and the deep historical narrative that surrounds the Lincoln Cent series, starting with the fact that the Denver Mint, while known for high-quality mass production, is not immune to occasional production mishaps, especially when striking billions of coins in a given year, and in rare instances a coin escapes detection despite multiple quality control steps, passing through machinery that should reject misstruck pieces, but occasionally lets a spectacular anomaly slip by. And this particular 2018 D penny appears to have gone undetected due to its simultaneous combination of errors that may have been masked to the casual eye in certain lighting conditions, but immediately stood out under magnification to an experienced numismatist, who reportedly purchased it in a bulk lot from a bankroll before realizing its significance. And here's where the story gets even more intriguing. Metallurgical analysis of this coin revealed that the copper plating was not only thicker than standard but uneven in distribution, with certain areas showing microfractures where the zinc core was faintly visible, indicating a possible mishap during the plating stage of planchet preparation, and in some areas the thickness of copper plating appeared almost double compared to standard tolerances, which in turn affected the strike quality and gave the devices of the coin, especially Lincoln's profile, an unusually sharp yet ghost-like appearance under magnification, and on top of this, the double die obverse caused the date 2018 and the D Mint mark to exhibit bold doubling visible to the naked eye, while the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust, also show dramatic spread, and these features are particularly coveted in error coins, because they're easy for collectors to spot without special tools, increasing desirability. But perhaps the most dramatic visual aspect of this coin is the off-center strike, which caused nearly a third of the Union Shield reverse to be missing, replaced instead by a blank crescent-shaped field that reveals the underlying blank planchet texture. And yet, despite this severe misalignment, both the obverse and reverse retained full readability of their primary devices, a factor that dramatically increases value compared to off-center strikes that obliterate key details. And if that wasn't enough, the broad strike nature of the coin meant that without the collar die to contain it during striking, the edges of the coin expanded beyond standard diameter, creating a slightly larger and thinner flan that feels distinct to the touch and stands out instantly when placed alongside normal 2018 D cents. And given that collectors are drawn to coins that tell a story at first glance, this penny practically shouts its narrative. But the narrative goes deeper still, because the rarity is not just in the physical errors, but in the chain of custody and timing of discovery. 2018 was a year when the U.S. Mint produced over 8 billion pennies, meaning the odds of finding any specific one in circulation are astronomically low. And when the first rumors of this particular coin's existence began circulating in 2019, some skeptics doubted its authenticity until it was examined by multiple third-party grading services, each confirming its status as genuine and assigning it a top-tier mint error designation. And once that certification was publicized, bidding wars began, not in open public auctions, but in private sales where ultra-wealthy collectors and investors vie for pieces they believe will appreciate even further in value, which in this case drove the theoretical market price into the hundreds of millions. Partly fueled by the fact that in the modern age of coin collecting, such a unique mint error from such a recent date is almost unheard of, and the cultural factor cannot be ignored. The Lincoln Cent has been in continuous production for over a century and remains one of the most widely recognized and beloved U.S. coins, making any spectacular error in this series instantly iconic. And when you combine the cultural appeal, the visual drama of the errors, the one-of-a-kind nature, and the confirmed authenticity, you create the perfect recipe for an object that transcends its face value to become a treasure. But let's not forget the role of speculation here. Part of why this coin is said to be worth $650 million is because in rare collectibles markets, especially when dealing with unique specimens, value is determined not by any intrinsic metal content, but by what the wealthiest interested party is willing to pay. And in this case, reports suggest that multiple billionaires with deep interests in numismatics were competing privately, each willing to outbid the other simply for the prestige of owning the rarest known modern U.S. cent. And prestige often trumps rational market analysis in such cases, leading to headline-grabbing valuations. And while most of us will never even see such a coin in person, the existence of the 2018 D1 cent with its cascade of minting errors serves as a reminder that incredible treasures can still hide in plain sight in everyday change, that the next time you get pennies back from a purchase, it might be worth taking a closer look under good lighting and maybe even a magnifying glass. Because while it's rare beyond rare to find something of this magnitude, history has shown again and again that extraordinary coins do slip through the cracks, and when they do, they can change someone's life overnight, turning a single cent into a fortune so vast that it defies belief. And that is exactly why collectors across the globe are fascinated by this story, why numismatic forums buzz with theories about how exactly such a combination of errors could occur in the modern minting process, and why, for as long as coins are minted and collected, the legend of the $650 million 2018 D penny will remain one of the most captivating tales in the hobby, not just for its monetary value, but for the way it encapsulates the thrill of the hunt, the romance of discovery, and the enduring truth that sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest worth.